Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, we're taking a look at two different gaming headsets from ONIKUMA. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, ONIKUMA provided me with two different wired gaming headsets for a fair and honest review. They provided me with the K10 as well as the K5. Both headsets have virtual 7.1 surround sound via 50mm drivers. They both have noise cancelling mics. They both have lighting effects, and they're both highly compatible because they feature 3.5mm jacks. One of the best features about these headsets is they're very simple and straightforward. They're pretty much just plug and play. Now, taking a quick look at the boxes for both the K5 and the K10 Pro, aside from appearance, the features boasted are pretty similar. They both state they have dynamic drivers, high fidelity, padded headbands, inline controls, precise and noise cancelling microphone. Both have the same speaker size, but the impedance and sensitivity is a little bit different. The K5 is on the left and the K10 Pro is on the right. Now, looking inside the box for the K5 first, we can see the headphones wrapped in bubble wrap, and there's also an instruction manual. That's about it. There's really not much to the instruction manual, just a little bit of product information. I was surprised at how nice this cable feels. It feels a lot better than I thought it was going to, and it's braided. The headset is a little heavier than I thought it was going to be considering it's wired. The plastic feels nice. It's a soft touch. The microphone arm is pretty tight in there, which is a really good thing. It's not going to flop around on you a whole lot when you're wearing the headset. You can also adjust the position of the microphone simply by bending it. The side of the headset has a built-in LED where the G is. I'll show you that in a bit. The material covering the ear cups and the headband is fabric, and while it's soft, it doesn't really feel that expensive. For those wondering, the ear cups do pull off pretty easy for cleaning purposes. Attached to the middle of the headphone cable is a controller with a volume dial as well as a microphone on and off switch. At the end of the cable on the headset, it's a little bit weird. It splits into two pieces. One has the USB that provides power to the LEDs only. The other side has all your audio connections. There's an adapter on the end of the cable with two ports, one for headphones and the other for microphone, or if you have a port that does both, you can just remove the adapter. Opening the box for the K10 Pro, and it's packaged up the exact same as the K5, bubble wrap and one instruction manual. The top of the K10 Pro has the ONIKUMA logo. The padding on the top is also a little bit different and much softer than the K5. I also noticed that the headband on the K10 Pro is wider and more flexible than the K5. The earpieces, however, do not detach from this headset. However, they do feel softer and nicer than the K5. On the side here, you can see the ONIKUMA logo as well as a mesh covering of that logo. I don't think the mesh covering serves any other purpose other than aesthetics. The microphone is also a little bit different. There's a cutout built right into these headphones where the microphone slides into. The tip of the microphone is flexible, but it doesn't stay in place like the K5. The headphone controller is different but very similar to the other one. There's an on-off switch for the microphone as well as a volume knob. This cable is braided as well, and the bottom also splits into two pieces. The USB on one hand and the 3.5mm jacks on the other. This adapter piece is a little bit different than the other one though. The coloring is built right into the connectors as opposed to the casing on the cable. So I've got both headsets plugged in right now to show you the difference in lighting effects. On the K10 Pro, it's a strobing RGB. This actually looks pretty nice, but there's no way to change it. You can't change the color and you can't change the effect. It just kind of is what it is. There's also no lighting built into the microphone. On the K5, it's a white LED and a white LED on the microphone. Again, no way of changing it. As for overall comfort, I find the K5 is a little bit too small for my head. The ear cups are pressing against my face and it's not really that comfortable at all. On the other hand, the K10 Pro with the far more flexible headband is far more comfortable. This isn't pressing up against the side of my head, and I can wear this for hours on end without any discomfort. To get a second opinion on this, because I do have a big head, my wife was actually in the same boat. She found the K10 Pro to be far more comfortable than the K5. Although there's no real way for me to show you how both of these sound, they both actually sound pretty good given their price point. I find the K10 Pro to be far more bassy than the K5. The K5 was great for FPS games and games where you really need to hear every little detail. And I found the K10 Pro to be good for almost every other situation. I didn't like these for first-person shooters because I found them to be a little bit too bassy. The bass from the gunfire I found drowned out a lot of the finer details and sounds, for example someone walking up on you. It was a lot easier to hear that through the K5s than the K10 Pro. But the K10 Pro sounded great in racing games, adventure games, retro games, and it even sounded great playing music. What I'll do next is test out the microphone on both of these headsets. I'll do it in a quiet environment, and then I'm going to do it with some background noise. So right now I've switched over to the built-in microphone on the K5. This does have noise cancellation, so let's test that out. Here's me pressing buttons on a controller to see if you can hear that in the microphone. And now what I'm going to do is play some music on my phone. I've got the music cranked up pretty loud, so I think the microphone will probably pick it up, but let's see how it does in isolating my voice. So now we've switched over to the internal mic on the K10 Pro. Again, there is no background noise at this time. So what I'm going to do is press a few buttons on my controller to see if you can hear the microphone picking up that noise. And again, what I'll do is turn on the music on my phone. Again, this is quite a bit of background noise, so I'm assuming the microphone is picking up quite a bit of it. I wouldn't normally think that you'd be gaming in a situation like this, but you never know. And just for comparison purposes, I've switched over to the built-in microphone on the SteelSeries Arctis 1, a gaming headset that costs 5 times as much because it's the wireless version. The wired version costs twice as much as the K10 Pro and the K10 5. So what I'll do now is press the controller buttons again to see if you can hear that. I'll boot up my phone and press the music button again to see if you hear that as well. So now you can tell the difference between the K5, the K10, and a much more expensive headset. As for build quality, I was actually really impressed with these headsets considering they only cost 20 bucks. Now mind you, they don't feel like an expensive headset, but at the same time, they don't feel cheap. The K5 is a hefty little headset here. It's a little bit tight on the head, but it seems to be built pretty well. I only have one real complaint with the build quality on the K5, and that's with the padding on the top. For some reason, it clicks a little bit when it's pressed in, and it's because there's 2 plastic pieces on the top that rub a little bit. So if it's on your head and you move around a little bit, sometimes you can hear a click. As for the K10 Pro, I find this headset is overall better than the K5. It's lighter than the K5, it feels nicer than the K5. The padding on the top is nicer, the ear cup padding is nicer. There is no annoying click with the top headband because it's designed differently. I did find one annoying click though, and that's with the right earpiece. The fit and finish on this I don't think is perfect. You can tell it's not an expensive headset, but it does feel more expensive than the K5, even though they're very comparable in prices. On Amazon, prices seem to fluctuate for these items, but both of them hover around 20 bucks. So if you can find it around 20 bucks, it seems like a pretty good deal. Overall, if you're in the market for an inexpensive headset that's compatible with a bunch of different systems, is basically plug and play, and sounds pretty good given the price point, the ONIKUMA K10 Pro is the one I recommend. You can take a look at the K5 if you like the style and like something a little more tight-fitting. I mean, for 20 bucks here, you could do a lot worse. The price to performance ratio on these is pretty good. With everything good I've said about these headsets, I still have one major pet peeve that I haven't really talked about. And that's this silly USB cable. It really bothers me. The only purpose of this is to power the LEDs. That's it. You cannot get audio at all through this. It would have been nice to be able to get audio through it, but you can't. You have to use the 3.5mm jacks or the 3.5mm jack. And that's a bit of a pain if you're using these in something like a Nintendo Switch. When I have either the K5 or the K10 Pro plugged into my Nintendo Switch, I have this stupid USB thing dangling around, and there's nothing else I can do with it. It just kind of flops around there. I guess I could always just cut this cable off and not worry about it, considering these are just $20 headphones. But at the same time here, it would have been nice if I could just detach this or at least tuck this somewhere where it's not going to get in the way. I mean, I might be splitting hairs at this point, it's just I really don't like this setup. But I mean, again, for 20 bucks, I guess it's not that bad. Anyways, that is all I've got for today. Let me know your thoughts on the K5 and the K10 Pro in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.